So Moritz, welcome to Den Haag. You're becoming so more and more often our guest. And we are really excited about it, especially me as a percussionist, because we did so much for percussion music already. Mm-hmm. And before we even met, you did it. And now, Master and Servant. 30 minutes of percussion madness.
It is.
Why Master and Servant?
Yeah, when you ask me to write a piece, I always have to think about ideas. I need some situation, some story for a piece. I just didn't want to call it like percussion concerto #1 or something, because it has to be something special for you. And this was actually the time when all these conflicts in the Ukraine started, actually. And I was thinking about populism, about politics a little, and this theme of people being master of somebody and servants of somebody was very, very popular also, and still is popular. And so I wanted to write a piece that takes this topic and works with it in a musical and also satirical, theatrical way, like a performance, where the performer is like first the master of the orchestra, the master of the ensemble, but then the roles are reversed and he becomes the servant. And I just wanted to explore these power politics, which also happen in an orchestra. Yeah, you have the conductor, and he's the master, yeah, and you have the servants. But sometimes we know that actually the orchestra is the master, because if they refuse to play, then the conductor does nothing. Yeah, so.
So is it certain statement of yours?
I never want to do I don't think that art can give a definite answer, but it can ask questions. So I always describe what we as artists or as composers do is like we're like chroniclers of the emotions of a period, of a time. And of course, the politics and the situation in which we live will influence what we compose. I mean, it certainly did influence Beethoven, the Napoleonic times, for example. You can hear it in his music, but the music is not a political statement in itself. It's more a humanist statement. It's about the people. It's about the emotions. It's about what humans experience, and this is what music can do. And this is definitely what I try with my music, is to react to the times we are living in, but I cannot give an answer. Only the times can give the answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we are talking about emojis in this case, what is the feeling? Because you was at the November Music Festival, the premiere of the first movement 2 years ago.
Which was very nice.
Sweaty. What was your emoji? What was your? How did it felt for you to hear this first moment?
It was very exciting. Of course, I wrote it for you. Yeah, so I know your personality. I know your charisma on stage, and these are things that I definitely wanted to also think about in the composition. And perhaps if I had written this piece for somebody else, it would sound different, I'm sure, because as a composer you always also compose for the situation, for the ensemble, for the specific sound of the ensemble. Yeah? So it was very exciting, especially to see the first movement, and then working on the second movement after that also gave me lots of ideas, because I already had that experience of hearing the first movement live, which was a luxury I never have usually. Usually you write the full piece and then you hear it and it's either bad or good. But now I could see, okay, this works, and let's continue this. Yeah.
Because you're writing quite a lot of different music for different orchestras, ensembles, duos, trios, solo pianos. Of course, your works for flute. Baroque flutes are really important in our time, because everywhere in the world they play actually this one.
Yeah, who would have thought? My publisher at that time thought it was a mistake to publish this piece.
Really?
Yeah. So
who was right? And what are your thoughts about 21st century and about importance of percussion instruments in 21st century? And of course, we're speaking about also from middle of 20th century and until now. What is your?
Of course, we can see that there is an explosion in, first of all, artistic ability of percussionists, and of course also the quality of pieces that have been written. And I think both of this goes together. And I think so we can see that the instrumentalists who brought this instrument forward also influenced the way composers wrote for it. And I think this is very beautiful when this happens. You have the same, let's say, for example, with the evolution of the clarinet and Mozart's clarinet concerto. You can tell it's a new instrument. He learns from the instrumentalist, and this is beautiful. And I think this development is still not at an end. I think percussion instruments have had such a renaissance, and also, of course, we realized that the classical music from the Central Europe was also missing some elements that are very prevalent in other musical cultures, let's say African culture, Asian culture, where percussion instruments play a much bigger role. We know that they were basically imported from the Ottoman Empire for the first time in Europe. And now they are like a very, very normal and common thing in the orchestra. Then we have the conflict between digital instruments and percussion instruments. So the percussion instruments still have this huge, I mean, like in your concert I see here all these instruments, these live instruments which sound beautiful, but it's also a lot of work to bring them on stage. It needs organization, it needs trucks that transport them. Yeah? So this evolution probably has now reached its apex. I don't think it can get bigger anymore, but we still have amazing, I mean, you have students yourself, I mean, you're an amazing player yourself, and if I compare that alone to the standard that was when I started as a student 30, 40 years ago, there's a huge evolution still, yeah? So I'm curious what the 21st century will bring. Yeah.
What do you think, who need to be in charge and to take initiative? Composers or percussionists, also performers themselves?
I think we need the initiative of the performers, because the performers are the ones playing our music, and for me they are a very, very important, in German we would say Gegenüber, yeah, very important partner. It's a partnership, and of course in every collaboration, if you have large ensembles, you need somebody taking responsibility, be it the conductor, the soloist, the composer. Sometimes this responsibility is shared. But of course, I'm somebody who really believes in the idea of democracy, so I always think that it's a shared responsibility. And you should always take each of the people involved in it, even the last orchestra instrument that plays only one note, they're part of it. And they're all responsible mutually. But it's not bad if somebody takes charge who's like a benign leader, you know. I believe in a way there's something good about monarchy if the monarch is good. But if he or she is bad, then it's really horrible. Yeah? You know, in history we have examples of both. Yeah? We have Queen Victoria, but you also have some evil tsars in Russia, you know, so it's both sides are possible. Yeah.
Now, and one of the last questions. First of all, why exactly this setup? Why did you went and for marimba, for classical, but also you did mix it with unusual instruments? Yeah. And why glockenspiel? And why that huge drum setup?
I mean, you know, Konstantin, that all this setup evolved in discussion with you. Yeah, so you showed me your huge selection of instruments, and I made notes, of course, and we had lots of video calls where you showed me your special instruments and also your ideas for the setup, which also actually influenced the composition of the piece. But of course, also as a composer, for example, for the second movement, I knew I wanted to have something, you know, very lyrical and melodic, and then I thought, okay, this has to be glockenspiel, and I know that you have a glockenspiel, so I just said, okay, please use a glockenspiel, Konstantin. But I was always careful. I was asking you if you had these instruments and if it is possible. But of course, I mean, it's a percussion concerto, so I think there's also a theatrical element to it. And part of the piece is also, as you know, is you running around, trying to actually get things done as the servant in the second movement especially. And this is part of the fun, I think. Yeah? If it was just a tiny setup with a snare drum and a cymbal, I think it would not be as impressive. And this needs to be theatrical, because it's a piece with a story. It has a story that you could not tell in words, but that you understand if you listen to the piece. You understand it intuitively, because we all have been masters and servants in our life.
So actually, in a few words, to researched it. You just had
A musical narrative.
Yeah.
And sometimes this narrative also leads me into surprising new corners that I hadn't expected. So it's a bit like when authors say they write a story and they have characters, and these characters suddenly take on their own life. And this happens for me when I write melodies or have musical ideas, and sometimes they say, no, I want to be more developed. Don't leave me there, you know, you have to work on me. Yeah? And others say, okay, I'm here, but I can go. Yeah? So it's something that I even don't know myself. How will a piece end? Where will it go? And I follow it a little, yeah? and see where the drama leads me.
Yeah. And if you would choose 3 instruments of percussion.
3 instruments of percussion.
It can be also a group, let's say 3
Yeah.
rototoms. It's like 1 instrument. I mean, like.
That's a difficult question. I think I always would need some. I really love the metallic mallet instruments like the Glockenspiel, but also tubular bells. I think these sounds
Also
for me,
tuned.
everything that is metallic and tuned has for me a very, very interesting sound quality. Also vibraphone. I even love what many people find cheesy, like the vibrato on the vibraphone. Yeah, I really like it. It has something mysterious somehow. So I would need that. I very much love everything that combines purely rhythmical instruments, drum set like, you know, with bass drum. I very often need bass drum, but combine it with something else, you know, that I like. And the third one, which would that be? Difficult to say. Yeah. I mean, of course, I like all the mallet instruments.
Yes, need to be one.
But yeah, it could be even all the gadget instruments, you know, like lotus flute and stuff that you or whistle, all these things, guns and whips. I like
So
effect instruments. Yeah, I think these are the 3 most important categories.
And just to finalize, what is silence for you?
Silence is where the expectation lurks for what is happening next. So silence can be very meaningful in music. I try to use silence very often to structure a piece, to explain the form. And as you know, you hear something and then you perhaps think about how will it continue. And very often in contemporary music it continues the same way. It just stays like that. So that's for me a bit disappointing because I want to be surprised. When I see a film I want to have a surprising twist, or you know, I want to have something that I don't expect. And I like films, for example, that don't have a clear genre, where it just could be a comedy, or is it a horror film, or is it a thriller. If it's somewhere in between, I think it becomes really interesting. Yeah, films that you can't categorize, like Stalker by Tarkovsky. Is it a science fiction film? No. Is it a philosophical film? No. It certainly is not a comedy. But what is it? Yeah, what is 2001 by Kubrick? Is it really only a science fiction film, or is it something more? So these things are very interesting for me. And silence, as you asked, is one of the things that is as important as the sound. But I also wouldn't make a philosophy of silence like some music does, you know, where they say silence is more important than the sound. No, the sound is very important. The silence is the grammar in a way. It's like the pause after a sentence, which you need to make something clear. Yeah? It's a structural means, I think.